So Iron Eye is one of the most fun characters to play in all of Elden Ring nightreign, so we're going to go through every single one of his remembrances so you can get all of his best relics and have an absolute blast with this Nightfarer. Per usual, his remembrance will not show up in the journal unless you've defeated at least one Night Lord with Iron Eye. So with that being stated, let's go ahead and jump into the first journal entry, chapter 4, to begin the remembrance. Upon entering the realm of remembrance, you will see a marker on your map on the bottom left. You need to head to that area, which is downstairs, and you're going to find Duchess cloaked. You need to talk to her and exhaust every single bit of her dialogue. You're going to ask her about the fellowship, get that dialogue, and then you're also going to ask about the traitor. Once everything is exhausted, she's going to have a task for you, and you'll have a new prompt to accept that task. Once you've accepted the task, you can go ahead and begin your very first expedition doing this remembrance. You can go ahead and go back to Round Table Hold's Grace and start an expedition. You are going to have to go and find the traitor, which is going to be located at the top left of your map as soon as you get into day 1. Now, he is quite difficult, so I highly recommend that you go through at least one day-night cycle if you are doing this solo, or if you have a group, you can go there right away and 3v1 him, no problem. Now, one thing to remember is that the traitor is going to have the exact same moveset as you do, so you need to keep your distance, but at the same time be able to dodge arrows and stay out of his line of sight in order to do a ton of damage to him and get him down quickly. The reason you need to kill him is because on his person, he is going to have a letter. Once the invader has been vanquished, you will get the traitor's letter, and at this point, you can just continue your expedition as normal. Now, you don't need to defeat the Night Lord in order for the letter to come out with you, but obviously getting the rewards at the end of an expedition is definitely why you want to do it, so make sure you get your expedition done and then head back to Round Table Hold. Now, once you get back to Round Table Hold, you need to go back downstairs because Duchess is going to be standing there cloaked just like she was at the beginning of this remembrance. You're going to talk to her and exhaust all of her dialogue, and then you will have a prompt to show her the traitor's letter. Upon showing her the traitor's letter and using up the rest of her dialogue, your remembrance will now be completed. Now, once you exit out of your remembrance, you will be receiving Iron Eye's chalice as well as the cracked ceiling wax. The chalice is going to have one red, one yellow, and one blue slot, and the cracked ceiling wax is going to extend the duration of weak point, and your critical hits are also going to earn runes. Now, after you've completed his very first remembrance, you may not be able to go directly into remembrance number 2, and you may have to defeat a Night Lord or 2 before you can come back to the journal and the prompt will be there for you. But if you have it accessible, go ahead and start your second remembrance. Once you get inside of the realm of remembrance, you're going to have to head downstairs into the very bottom of the entirety of Round Table Hold. You're going to find Duchess in the room with all the white stone coffins and the traitor hunched up against a wall laying down. You're going to go ahead and exhaust all of Duchess's dialogue here, and then you will have a chance to go over and talk to the stranger. You're going to get some really cool lore revelations here for Iron Eye, so I won't spoil anything, but continue to talk to him and then you'll get the prompt to execute him. You're going to try to execute him, however, you will not be able to do so. You're going to need an item from one particular Night Lord. And very quickly, you're going to see that the execution doesn't work, so you'll have a chance to talk to the traitor once again, and you're going to get the About the Secret prompt. Go ahead and press that prompt, listen to what he has to say, and at which point you can head back over to Duchess, tell her about the Edge of Order, and exhaust all of her dialogue. Once you've done so, you can head back upstairs, and you can start the expedition for the Dark Drift Knight. Now, on your expedition, you don't have to do anything. You just have to get to the Dark Drift Knight, and you do have to defeat him. If you do not defeat this boss, you will not be able to get the Edge of Order that he drops, so you have to continually try this fight until you can make it happen. He is one of the hardest bosses in all of Elden Ring nightreign, so definitely be prepared with a super solid crew so you can get him down quickly. Now, upon the knight's defeat, he will drop the item that you need, which is going to be the Edge of Order. This Edge of Order is going to turn into the relic that you receive once you get back to Round Table Hold. However, once you get to Round Table Hold, you need to head back downstairs to the traitor and talk to him about the Edge of Order. He's going to ask you to execute him once more, and at which point you will carry out his wishes and execute him for real this time. After you've done so, you can exhaust all of his dialogue and start talking to Duchess once more to exhaust her final few sentences. Once you've done this, the remembrance will be complete, and you will attain the Edge of Order relic. The Edge of Order is going to boost thrusting counterattacks after executing your art. It's also going to give your starting armament holy damage, and it's going to improve your bow attack power. Now, as far as your last Remembrance goes with Iron Eye, there are a few special things we need to do in order to make this work. First and foremost, you cannot complete this Remembrance using the journal. What you need to do is defeat at least 4 Night Lords in order to access the very end Night Lord, the Aspect of Night. But there are a few things you need to do in order to make this entire Remembrance work. First and foremost, you need to have the Edge of Order equipped in your relic in order to get the ending that we want with Iron Eye. So go ahead and load up an expedition with the Edge of Order equipped in your relic, do the entire expedition, and then you must defeat the Night Lord, the Aspect of Night, on that particular expedition. Once you do so, you will be teleported to a version of Round Table Hold where it is just you, and you need to make your way through Round Table Hold until you find a cross-legged corpse who looks like he's been sitting there for an eternity. You're going to need to talk to him and use the Clenched Dagger prompt, at which point you will then get Iron Eye's cutscene, as well as his Remembrance skin and his final journal entry. This cutscene you're seeing right here is not the correct cutscene. I didn't want to spoil it for you, but you will get a different cutscene. But after your cutscene is completely finished, you will find yourself back at Round Table Hold, and you will have attained the Remembrance skin for Iron Eye. But that is going to be it for our guide for every single one of Iron Eye's Remembrances. If you have questions, leave them down in the comments below. I will try to answer them as best as I can. And if you want to see more Remembrance questlines, let me know which one you want to see next. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification on your way out. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.